Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. We're back to normal this episode, after last week's anniversary episode 400. This is just 401, so it's the same old usual crap. So, enjoy. First, I do want to talk about a couple movies that I saw over the past couple weeks. I saw Missing Link, which no one else saw. It apparently did really badly at the box office, which is a shame. I originally wasn't going to see it, but then I saw the trailer, and the trailer looked kind of charming and delightful. And then when I found out that it wasn't actually CGI masquerading as stop motion, it was actual stop motion animation, I went to go see it. Because I want to support any animation that isn't computer generated, because that's all we get anymore. And I miss traditional cel animated films. So I will go see a traditional stop-motion animated film, because you also don't get a lot of those anymore either. And it was very good. It's funny, charming, great animation, really nice story, good message for the kids, and some adults. I will say that the 3D was not worth it. It was very clearly shot in 3D. I mean, with 3D in mind. It's stop motion. They're not going to shoot stop motion in 3D. That'd be crazy. It's a conversion. But while they clearly directed it and framed shots with 3D in mind, such as, you know, gun barrels pointing at the screen, or things being thrown at the screen, or people hanging from a great height and, you know, the depth behind them. But when they converted it to 3D, they just didn't push it enough. The 3D conversion is very mild, so things don't really pop that much. There isn't a lot of depth from foreground to background, and that really makes it not as dramatic when people are hanging from a great height, and it doesn't really look like a great height. It looks like, oh, it's just a little ways down. You know, you have to make the 3D work, especially if the director has tried to use 3D in a more dramatic fashion. But, alas, it's not worth it. I don't care, because with my AMC A-list, it doesn't cost me anything extra. But don't waste money on 3D for this one. But do go see it, because it is good. Even though I know everybody's just going to wait for Netflix or whatever. Then the other movie that I saw, which I can't really recommend as much, if at all, is Hellboy. Which I actually saw in IMAX, because why not? It doesn't cost me anything extra. Thought, let me see it on the big screen. I mean, it might have made some of the action sequences a little more exciting, but overall, I found Hellboy kind of disappointing. I'm not the biggest Hellboy fan. Like, I've read some comics, I saw the other two movies, but, I'm not super into Hellboy. And I sort of got the impression that this movie is very much, like, I feel like if you're a big Hellboy fan, you might enjoy this movie a bit more. Because it feels like there's a lot of stuff from the comics in here that fans would enjoy seeing brought to life. So for a casual viewer, or someone that doesn't know anything about Hellboy, I don't think you're going to like this movie at all. Because it's kind of a mess. Like, the script is very episodic, there's lots of flashbacks and things, and it's very piecemeal, so it doesn't really, like, tell a full story with momentum building to the grand finale and stuff, you know. The casting was fine, I guess. David Harbour is okay as Hellboy. Although I will say that the makeup was hit or miss. Like, sometimes he looked really good, and then other times it looked really bad. Like, there's times when, like, the facial makeup just doesn't, it looks a little half-assed. And, like, the chest hair, there was, like, there was a scene where, like, his chest hair looked like a strip of Velcro going down his chest, and I was like, what? Which made me wonder if maybe that and some other scenes might have been, like, reshoots, and then they didn't, like, try as hard because it wasn't the real movie, it was just a reshoot. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. All I do know is that it was just sort of meh for me. I did enjoy at the end, spoiler alert, although it's in the trailer, when the demons are, like, rampaging around the world, they're destroying London and stuff. things get really gory, and that was super, like, I was like, this is great! But then it was only like a minute long, and it didn't sustain that, and I was like, oh well. But I will say that because this Hellboy is rated R, it is gory. Gory as hell. And I liked that. Like, that was actually probably the most entertaining aspect of this film to me, was watching the outrageous gore. Which isn't usually what I go see a movie for. And also I feel like that's not a good sign if the most entertaining thing in a movie is the gore effects. But there you go. If you're a huge Hellboy fan, you've probably already seen it. And if you are a huge Hellboy fan who's seen it, can you tell me if you liked it? Because I feel like a Hellboy fan would really enjoy it, but a regular fan or a regular person maybe wouldn't, because it's a lot of stuff that maybe they wouldn't get references or something. I feel like I missed something. I don't know. And then on to gaming. Obviously, I couldn't talk about it last week because I didn't have it then, but now I do. I have my Nintendo Labo VR kit. It finally arrived. Now granted, this was some doing. I tried to pre-order it at Best Buy. I mentioned this in the last episode. I tried to pre-order it at Best Buy so that I could get it on launch day, but they wouldn't let me pre-order it for in-store pickup on launch day. It was only shipping, and then the shipping, I had to wait until next week to get it. So I went, like, on Thursday, the day before it came out, and said, hey, what's up with that? And they're basically like, oh, well, that just means that, like, we've sold out of the pre-orders. You could get the starter kit, which is, like, half the price, but that didn't include, like, the camera and the bird, which are, like, one of the ones that I wanted, you know? So I'm like, I don't want to have to buy the extra pieces later. And I want my discount at Best Buy. So I said, fine. So I pre-ordered it online for shipping, but the free shipping was like, well, you won't get it till Thursday. If you want it on Tuesday or Monday, you can get it, but you're going to have to pay like $7 to $15 for shipping. And I'm like, well, no, because the whole point of buying it from Best Buy is so that I can get my 20% discount while I still have it. And paying anything for shipping is going to dip into that, and then what's the point? I might as well just go to Nintendo World and pick it up. So I checked again on Friday to see if maybe there was, you know, an extra copy just somewhere in Manhattan. No. Sold out everywhere. I didn't think this was going to be that popular, but I'm glad that it is, because maybe it'll inspire them to do more. But on Friday, it said, with free shipping, you can get it on Tuesday. And I'm like, wait, what the hell? Like, how did, if waiting a day to order it, I could get it shipped for free 2 days earlier? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So I called, and I got a customer service on the phone, and she was not terribly helpful. Her English was not terribly good. So I don't feel like I had to explain the situation, and I felt like I was trying to explain it to a child, and I was like, it's not that complicated. I want to cancel my order. The website wouldn't let me cancel my order. And I'm like, I just want to cancel my order so that I can place a new order and get it sooner. The upshot in the end was she said, ignore the website, you'll get it on Tuesday. And I said, okay, fine. That makes sense. But it didn't come on Tuesday. It was still preparing my order. And then on Wednesday, it was still preparing. By like late afternoon on Wednesday, it finally had changed to shipping. It had shipped. And then it came overnight FedEx. So it did arrive like early Thursday afternoon. And when I got home from work, I took the kit into the other room and tried to set up the camera so that I could video myself and create an unboxing video where you could watch me put together the basic Nintendo Labo VR viewer. Unfortunately, when I did it, it ended up being like over 45 minutes long and super tedious because my Switch needed an update. Then when I put in the Labo cartridge, it needs to update the controllers, and I'm just like, oh my god. And I'm like, well, I can edit this out, and I can trim it down, the boring bits, because I didn't feel like I talked enough during the building to make it entertaining to actually watch. But then when I actually went to look at the video and said, I'll throw it up anyway, who cares? I didn't frame it very well, and I spread everything out on the floor in front of me, and most of that ended up out of camera view, so I was like, this is stupid, I'm not going to upload it, because nobody's going to sit and watch me put together a Labo kit for 45 minutes, that's just silly. So anyway, that video is no more. You're just getting this. The summary of how it took me 45 minutes to do this. I did it, and now I have my VR viewer. The switch goes in here. You slide the switch in here, and then you make the switch go into VR mode, which splits the screen into two images, which the lenses then combine into a 3D VR view for yourself. And at first I was initially excited. I said, oh look, there's like 16 minigames, and there's 4 pages of 16 minigames apiece. That's a lot. But then as I looked at them, they're not minigames, they're like micro games, if that. They're barely activities. Like, some of them are a little more entertaining than others. I mean, just the basic viewer ones. That's all that's unlocked yet so far. But there's some that are like really just super basic, and they're like not anything. It's not even a mini game or a micro game really. But and then there's some where they use the like Joy-Con. You're supposed to hold the viewer up like this, and then use the Joy-Con to like swat a baseball bat or a racket to like hit a ball. And because it's not like the PSVR or another VR system where there's a camera that's tracking your head movements and your controller, this, you're holding the viewer up here like this, and you're looking around, and it's just using the gyroscope for the motion controls. It's not tracking as you swing it, so it doesn't matter how you could swing it like this, and it still goes like this. You know, it doesn't matter. It's not very effective, and it's not easy to do. And just hitting, like, there were some where it's like, okay, it shoots a ball at you, and you have to hit the ball back to destroy the targets. And I kind of accidentally destroyed one target, and the rest of it was just whatever. And I'm just like, okay, well, this isn't fun, so I'm not going to play this one anymore. I went through them all and tried them all so that I could at least unlock the second page. Unfortunately, when I unlocked the second page, it only unlocked the first 4, and those required another build of this pinwheel contraption, which goes on the safety thing here, and then you basically go like this, and you go, and there's little stickers on here that the Joy-Con controller goes in here, and the camera points down, and it registers the stickers so that it knows that it's blowing and how hard it's blowing. And then you use that to like shoot bullets or blow up balloons, or, you know, blow things and stuff to spin them around and whatever. And it's fun, and that's a novel activity, almost hyperventilated, but whatever. Like, it's fun. The thing is that now I want to like do other activities, but I have to do more builds, and like the game tells you, like, when you're building it on screen, it shows you how to build it. And it's actually really nice the way the Labo kit works, where it's like, okay, now pull out this piece, fold it here, insert here, but you can like forward and rewind the video as it's on your screen. And then you can also, when it's trying to tell you how to do something, you can like move you can like rotate the on-screen version of it and zoom in and out and rotate it so that you can get a really good look. And there were a couple times, even just doing the basic viewer, where I was like, wait, actually I think it might have been this slightly complicated thing here, where I was like, wait, and I zoom in and I'm like, yeah, okay, that matches, I did it correctly, you know. The actual, so I have to build the other things, and they take like anywhere from a half an hour to 2 hours, depending. The gun takes like a couple hours, it says, and I'm like, that's going to be done in a couple of sessions, I'm afraid. We'll see. The actual VR, it looks fine. The graphics are good. It looks fine. The problem is, I can only clean this side of the lenses. I have to take this apart a little or something to get in there, because I feel like I need to wipe in there because there's some dust, and I don't know if it's from sliding the switch in, if it's on the screen, or if it's on the actual lenses themselves, because the dust just gets magnified and it just makes it look shitty, and it's annoying, it's distracting. That's like when you're like wearing glasses and there's a smudge and you're like, it's all you can see. So little giant, well, they're not little, they're giant dust particles magnified in the lenses So that's not great. Also, holding it like this and like playing with the controllers attached, you can only do it for a little while, because then your arms get tired holding it up like this, you know? And that's why I'm like, I'll try Zelda in VR, which I think the update is next week. I'll give it a shot just to see what it looks like, and I'll try Super Mario as well. But I don't feel like it's going to be super comfortable to play for any length of time, because you're like this. Also, there's stuff that requires motion controls, which I'm like, how's that supposed to work? I think it's more of a novelty, not that you're meant to be able to play the whole game in VR. I just want to do it so I could see the world in 3D and it'll be kind of cool looking. Because the other thing about this is the uncomfortableness is not great, but I don't want to attach a head strap. I've seen some people online with like makeshift head straps that they've made, and I'm like, no. I can barely put together the cardboard with instructions. You make me want to try to do something without instructions, you're asking for trouble. Go. But I do want to try the other things and see if they're a little more immersive, because right now, the act of holding it up like this and going like this, it takes away from the immersion, as opposed to a proper VR headset where you're looking around and it's on your head and you're just looking around and you're moving your arms around with controllers. Then it feels more real. Here, you're always aware that you're just holding a viewer up to your head. So it's not as immersive as proper VR. But as a VR starter kit, and for kids, it's probably super... Like, if I was a little kid, this would be, like, crazy fun. And amazing. Like, if I didn't already have a PSVR, this would be, like, amazing to me. Well, alright, no. Because I've had actual VR experiences, so it wouldn't be that amazing, but still. It would be cool. And if you're a kid, this is awesome, probably. But I appreciate that since the mini-games themselves are not super intense, I don't necessarily mind that it's going to take me a half an hour to build a camera to attach to it, because that's half the fun, is the building of the pieces, and then you play the games with it. I just would like the later games to maybe be a little more fun. I'm hoping they are. We'll find out in the coming episodes as I continue to build more and more pieces, because the regular viewer ones are super basic. The other thing I wanted to talk about this week, I know Nintendo Labo is the main issue, but I did want to mention that I did make another change in my Assassin's Creed Odyssey gameplay. I began to have second thoughts. I have complained in the past about how the game kept leveling up with me, and everything was always really hard, and I'm fighting, I'm level 12, and the wolves are level 12, and why can't I just easily kill a wolf when I'm just on my way to the next location? Like, cut it out. But what happened was, I went back to a previous area and discovered, oh, everyone here is like 3 or 4 levels below me. This is awesome. But then I was like, wait, because they're so far below me, it's easier to kill them, but I don't get the good rewards, and I'm probably not getting as much experience points. Because it says that in the menu, when you're moving the leveling slider, it says you can make people go up to 4 levels below you, but that's going to impact your gameplay, and you might not get as much experience and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Let me put it back to default and see what happens. And I put it back to default, and I've been playing for over a week now with it back in the default setting. So I'm playing on normal with the default leveling slider so that the game levels up at whatever level the game was supposed to be. And it's been okay, because I also discovered, looking at the map, I suddenly was like, what are those numbers on the map? Why does it say 19? And I'm like, oh, 19 is the number that is the level of the enemies that you will encounter on this island. And I was like, oh, that's why when I went into that area, those enemies were 24, because that says 24 on the map. And I had to backpedal, because I'm like, I'm not ready for them yet. And I'm like, oh, so I can do other things. So far, the leveling has been okay. Like, I've been able to do stuff. The only time that I struggled recently was one of my side missions was a naval thing, and I had to do ship combat, and I frickin' hate using the boats. It's awkward, it's not fun, it's super irritating. And you can never find a ship by itself to attack. There's always like 3 together, so then they all come at you and they gang up on you, and then you're effed. But so far, I've been okay. And the only problem is that I feel like the game sends you along the story, but then it's like, okay, here's your next story mission, but the next story mission is like 2 or 3 levels above you, and it's like, well, I can't continue with the story, I have to go and do side quests in order to level up, or that is going to be too difficult for me to do. So it's super obnoxious that, like, it kind of makes you do side... I mean, I don't care, I want to explore and do side quests and random things. The problem is going to be if doing all the side quests and random things levels me up, and then that story level then levels up with me, and then we're going to have to go back and reset the leveling slider again. But I am enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it. It's challenging, but not obnoxiously so. Like, the only time that I really have trouble, like, defeating an enemy is if they're, like, one of the assassins, the cult members, and they're meant to be difficult, or a mercenary who are meant to be difficult to defeat in combat. But we're doing okay, and it's good that I wanted to put it back up to default also because if later in the game things get a little difficult, I can always move that slider down again. And then if it's still difficult, I can put it on easy. And then if it's still too difficult, I gotta move on, because I can't make the game any easier, so... oh well, then I won't be able to finish. But we'll see. It's freaking huge, this game. Like, I don't even think I've explored half of the world map, and it's crazy. Crazy big. But, that's it for this week. Come back next episode, and I'll talk about some more stuff. I'll probably have built some more Nintendo Labo attachments for this. At least one. We'll see. And we'll see if I've had more trouble with the assassinating of people. And maybe I'll have seen some movies. I think there's a little indie movie coming out next week, Avengers something, I think. I don't think it's playing in very many theaters, but I might go see that. Bye!